All right, let's get into it. What's up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy TreJuanJohnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Always feel free to comment. Just please make sure to keep those comments respectful. And if you want to support your favorite podcast of yours truly, Cashapp will be in the episode description. Today we are joined by a special guest, man, my boy Patty V. You can find him on the Patty V on X, a member of the Brew Bros. That's Brieux for my
Yes,
folks
sir.
that don't know how to spell Louisianian. um, Co-host of the Who Effing Knows podcast, again, KNEAUX. And that's also part of the Be in the Know network. So, man, welcome to the show. Say hi to the folks, man, and introduce yourself a little bit further and tell us a little bit about just kind of the platform that you guys have.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, Patty V. I think we went a little hard into the EAUX when we developed all this stuff, but it was part of the brand, so we just kind of ran with it. When I explain it, I work with people like nationally, and I have to explain it to them, and every time I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of a local thing. But yeah, Patty V. Covered Tulane football for Be in the Know. Started with Be in the Know, one of the founding members there, so it's been a fun ride. Be in the Know covers a ton of things. I mean, whether it's Pelicans basketball, Saints, LSU, Tulane, all that stuff. But I primarily focus more on the Tulane stuff now that we've kind of gotten up and running. Dave and I co-host and run Brew Bros and the Who Effing Knows podcast. That was kind of our brainchild from the beginning. It did start as a part of Be in the Know. And now it's kind of its own thing. We're still like the flagship pod there, but we got our own thing going with the Brew Bros, where we were popping around to different coffee shops. And then also we just started doing branding and all kinds of deals for everybody else. So just a lot of things going on with all that. But big time sports fan. Probably got a loud mouth. Been called a grifter in the past. So yeah, excited to chop it up though. Just happy to be here.
No, for sure, man. And you mentioned kind of y'all's affiliation with Tulane and covering it. I'll tell you, I learned more about Tulane football just kind of listening to you guys, whether it be the podcast or just your interactions on the timeline, more than I had in all my life growing up in New Orleans. So definitely
Good.
appreciate what you guys are doing. I've definitely, I guess, locked in a little bit more on the program and how it's grown, which I would say kind of goes to our first topic of the day is Tulane
Mm-hmm.
football. Like, look, I'll tell you, the past 2 years, I have last year and this year, I have chosen Tulane as my G5 champion that's going to represent the G5 in the college football playoff.
Oh yeah.
We know they're currently 7-2, 4-1 in conference, which has them tied for third. But they also have the fourth best odds to make the college football playoff, coming off a big win against a ranked Memphis team. So, just from your perspective, man, kind of what were the thoughts going into the season for
Yeah.
Tulane, and just kind of what do you think are the odds that you guys can get that spot, or what do you think has to happen over the next 3 weeks or so?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think coming into the year, especially riding off the back of the last two seasons, right? You got John Summerall here, who's looked at as the next guy up, and that's probably something we can talk about here in a minute.
Mhm.
Um, but coming into the year, I think you're excited. There was no quarterback to speak of. They were battling it out. They had a couple different guys in camp that they felt okay about, but nobody was really a clear cut number one. Got kind of lucky with Retzlaff transferring in at the last minute, and which is kind of how you're starting to see these G5 programs operate, where it's like, you got to kind of get lucky. You really got to work that portal. You really got to get guys, looking for an opportunity, and build your program every year, which is kind of unfortunate. But after week one, I tell you what, Retzlaff had come in, put the world on notice. They beat Northwestern. I know it's Northwestern, but it is still, a power program.
Yeah.
And, they beat them pretty handedly. Like Northwestern didn't even look like they belonged on the same field. I mean, the score wasn't really out of hand, but, Tulane looked like they were big enough, they were strong enough, they were fast enough, all these things. So you were really excited both in the preseason and then rolling into the season. And now it's kind of been up and down, kind of been some hiccups, been some sloppy play. I think that they surprised me a little bit by just not figuring it out by now. Yeah, and now they're in a position where they've had a strong a strong case going into the UTSA game, where unfortunately they were upset, and not only upset, but just got the doors blown off. I mean, they didn't look like they belonged, and you can't have that happen when you're trying to make a case for being the top school in a group of five. So now they come back out the very next week. They have Memphis, who is looked at as one of the top schools, and they beat the brakes off them. They've also got a big win over Duke. So it's been a very interesting year, so to speak, and it's very difficult to place them. You know, I know we're going to talk about some other things, and I'll kind of stop with that assessment and like where we're at. But yeah, it's been exciting and weird.
Good. And you kind of talked on him a little bit. Jake Retzlaff, like I know you guys initially, TJ Finley was kind of the big signing, got into a little trouble. Now he's at Georgia State, and Retzlaff was in a little bit of trouble himself. Kind of gets cleared of the big thing, right? But because he attends Brigham Young, the whole honor code, they want to suspend him a few more games, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good on that." So when he transferred, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I just was saying Tulane was going to do it because I just like the program, but now a quarterback who formerly played for my Fighting Mormons of BYU, Latter Day Saints, if you're PC, but just bringing him in, how do you see the difference? I think over the past few years, where Tulane was kind of building their program up, and have had some good quarterbacks come through there. What do you think he's kind of brought to this team that kind of maybe gives you that feeling that this might be the year that you maybe can take that next step?
Yeah, he definitely stands out. I'll say that much. Going through camp, watching the other guys, seeing TJ Finley, seeing some of the other guys, Brendan Sullivan, things like that. No one really jumped out. And speaking of TJ Finley and his situation, I'm not sure he was going to be the starter based on the way things were playing out. And then obviously he had his legal troubles. And then there were some whispers, and I never want to talk bad about anybody. There were some whispers about transfers and what was accepted as far as his grades went. And so I think it was just a weird situation all around. He ended up transferring out. But when Retzlaff stepped in, and you watch him play week one, you kind of saw what he was bringing from BYU. He's one of those guys, kind of like Cam Ward. Not to compare him to Cam Ward like that, but that was he had a weird path. He had come through some smaller schools. He wasn't really recruited because of COVID. Had to be discovered, and then he was recruited more as a JUCO, and he ended up landing at Brigham Young, where he actually was recruited by Summerall as well. You probably know this, but he was recruited by Summerall as well when Summerall was at Troy. Ended up going to BYU, obviously, because it's a much larger program. But yeah, and then coming in here, you're not really sure what you're getting other than seeing the pedigree in the background, right? There's a little bit about, is he innocent? Is he guilty? They did an investigation. Tulane really went after it pretty hard, from what I hear, what I understand. They cleared him. But from there, he got to work. Everything I heard is he was in the film room from day one, watching film for hours, every day, just trying to understand the playbook, trying to understand kind of what he was up against, what he was walking into. He was hanging out with his teammates. He made good friends with one of the defensive backs. I can't remember his name right now because it's just slipping me, but they've been looking for the best burger in the city of New Orleans, and he just instantly started trying to become friends with all these guys. And you talk to these guys after like the first couple of weeks, and they all kind of said the same thing about him. Like, he's a dog, flat out. He's a dog. And anytime a teammate is saying, "Oh, he's a dog," like, that's normally a good sign, right? You could tell from day one he's probably going to be the guy that everybody's leaning on. But yeah, and you hoped he was bringing that winning pedigree, which he kind of has. But we could talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure, man. And speaking of winning pedigree, I would say John Summerall has been kind of the guy that has maintained what the previous regime was kind of trying to build before they obviously went on to Houston. Just tell me a little bit of what you think about Coach Summerall, and we know he's kind of been linked to a few Power Four jobs now with LSU and Auburn, to name a couple that come straight to mind. What's kind of like your idea of that, or feeling about that buzz that's coming about that, maybe a possible coaching change?
I think I think of this a little differently than a lot of the Tulane fan base. I think I say this all the time. I feel like the Tulane fan base acts as scorned lovers sometimes. Like, we've been hurt a lot, man. We've had a lot of good coaches. Well, we haven't had a lot of good coaches, but we've had good coaches come and then they leave because it's a group of five school. And I think that everyone is trying to get to the same place. Everybody expects Tulane to be this group of five powerhouse, and the end game should be that you're moving into a power conference. If that's not your end game, then honestly, you're just failing from there. And until that happens, you're gonna have guys like Willie, who burned a little because he was older. I think people thought he was gonna stay. You're gonna have guys like Summerall, who is up and coming. There's gonna be whispers he's probably gonna move on. Let's be honest. Maybe it's not this year, but there's more fire or more smoke this year than ever.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't look at that as a bad thing. I think that's kind of exciting. If you can prove as a group of 5 school that you are that school that's going to continue to win games, continue to bring in good coaches, continue to pay those coaches, and then they're going to use you as a springboard to go somewhere else and make more money and be better. That's good for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's how I feel about all the nonsense.
So let's say he takes the Auburn job, because that was the one that I feel like people link him to the most. Do you have an idea of maybe some guys you would like to see Tulane take a look at in terms of bringing in?
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult when you are a group of 5 school, right? The first guy that comes to mind for me, it might ruffle feathers because other people can be like, oh, well, he's in your conference, and how could you take, like, there's no way he would leave them and come to you. And maybe I'm looking at it at like Tulane's an elitist situation. I'm looking at a guy like Eric Morris, right? Like, I'm looking at a guy at North Texas who may already be primed to move on somewhere, right? But if he doesn't get that opportunity, Tulane pays quadruple what he's getting paid right now. I mean, Summerall's making around 3 or 4 mil, I think it is. Eric Morris just got a raise, which brings him to like a little over $1 million per year. He's there through 2029, which we know that's not real. But a guy like that has elevated that program, that finds quarterbacks, God knows where, and turns them into the next all-star. I'd love to see a guy like that come through. Aside from that, it's really digging for the diamond in the rough. I think he's one of them, but he's probably already kind of there. You got big names that were fired that maybe take a step back. Is there any of these guys like Auburn's coach or like Billy Napier from Florida that are taking a step back to the group of 5? I don't know if I would want to see that. I don't really like I don't like the retread. There's a fun name hanging out there that I think people would like. Fun in a sense, and I'm going to say Coach O. I think
that was it. I was going through my mind. I was like, "Well, how would you feel about Coach O coming down to New Orleans?"
I think it's interesting. Listen, Coach O got pushed out of LSU because of his behavior, not because of how he ran the football program. Well, maybe that was part of it, but there's a little bit of both. I think Coach O is a great coach. I think he would be a great recruiter, and I think if he's got money behind him, Tulane continues to roll at the pace that they've been on. I'm sure you'll see some other names pop up, but you're early in this, and you won't hear a lot until you hear Summerall has decided one way or another what's happening. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for sure. It sucks, man, because it really, I'm just bringing up other topics now. It really ruins seasons sometimes for a lot of these schools. Like you could point at the UTSA game and say, oh, they're distracted. I know last year you could point at a couple games. You could say, oh, they were distracted with all the North Carolina. Maybe that's why Mensah transfers. Nobody talks about that. Is it because his coach is looking out the door? No, he's like, okay, I'll look out the door, and then everybody's not paying attention to what's in front of them. It sucks, and hopefully they can figure something out with that. There's no good answer, but you got to stop ruining these team seasons.
For sure, man. For sure. Kind of want to stay in the college world a little bit. We were kind of talking about before we kind of came on college football playoff, and they just announced the rankings. Pretty much stayed the same at the top. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama, then Georgia, Tech jumped over Ole Miss, and then you got Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas. I think we kind of stopped caring after the top 10 for a little bit, but you kind of got OU, BYU, Utah, Vandy, and Miami kind of hovering around, trying to see if they can maybe get into either conference championship game, like if you're a Miami, but also an at-large bid, like a Vandy. Just kind of, what are your thoughts on the college football playoff in general, especially going from 4 teams to 12 teams a season ago, talking about maybe growing it some more? Just kind of how has that been for you as a fan, seeing kind of the growth of that? And then what do you think about maybe some of the teams that are fighting for those spots right now?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. There's 2 trains of thought, and I know I kind of know where you come from because I know we've interacted a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it. First of all, I do like the playoff. I like that it keeps seasons alive, so to speak, for some of these smaller schools. It makes them feel like they matter. Makes them feel more impactful. I know at the end of the day, it's gonna be very difficult to have that Cinderella story for them to actually run the table and go through each round. But it brings money into these smaller programs, and it can put them on the map, and hopefully it can continue to elevate them, right? And I like that part of it. What I don't like is that it really is just an invitational for like the SEC or some of these bigger programs. And it starts from day one. It starts from the off-season polls. You know, these pollsters and the way they're voting. I know they say, "Oh, that doesn't impact the college football playoff poll," but it absolutely does.
It does.
It starts from day one. And they basically just look at that poll and they're like, okay, this matters because of this. This doesn't matter because of that. They find whatever story they want to tell and they put the teams in that they want to put in. It sucks. But that's why I think what I'm about to say next, a school like Miami probably still ends up in. If they can somehow win their conference, they probably still end up in. Or if they can somehow win out and stay relevant, they get an at-large bid. Like, I think they care about brands a lot more than they care about, anything else.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. I mean, as a fan of college football, like, I'm still gonna watch, right? I'm still gonna get behind it. So let's see how bad
Sure,
let's see how bad Miami can shit the bed in the first round.
Dave's not gonna like you saying that.
I think he knows.
Man, the thing in my whole thing about the college football playoff was that from the beginning, in my mind, I felt like it was just a way for the SEC and the Big Ten to create their invitational, as you say, and figure out ways to get as many teams as they possibly could in. Big Ten went as far as a lot of their top tier teams decided to take off some really
Yeah.
good non-conference teams and say, well, we'll be fine, we'll be undefeated, and just play with each other or play, in our conference and maybe get 3 or 4 teams in. I think the SEC, they're probably leaning that way. They've kind of said you have to, schedule a power 5 out of conference, but you can find ways around that, right?
Oh, sure.
You can schedule a Syracuse instead of a Florida State if you're in Alabama,
Right.
giving
Schedule a
yourself a
Northwestern.
better opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I think my biggest fear was what ended up happening last year. Like we talked about how it kind of gives the smaller schools something to keep playing for. But I think it also is a kind of a rebound and a safety net for some of the bigger teams in the blue bloods that fall off during the regular season, but then still have time to get themselves together, like in Ohio State. Think of what the story is if you're at a 4-team playoff or even a 16 playoff where you have the most expensive roster in football.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost 2 games, one of which to Michigan, who is practically in a rebuild, right? You've lost that. What is the conversation around Ryan Day?
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know that now because he gets to backdoor into the playoffs, gets a favorable bracket. Poor Oregon just gets the worst draw of the world for a number 1 seed. So it kind of, in a way, takes away why do we even get the 1 seed? And I think
Yeah.
to some degree that's translated into the type of season that they've had so far, where it's we'll do good enough to get in and we'll get right at the right time. At least that's the hope. And I just felt like Ohio State just, I don't want to say lucked up because they still had to play the games, but the fact that their season, their program, their head coach, the whole talking point shifts because they got an opportunity to
Yeah.
get right. Whereas there was a structure where, dude, you have a 2-loss team, you have a failure of a season. We have to figure out who we need to bring in to right the ship. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That was just kind of my thoughts. But when
No,
you kind of
no.
think about, I guess, the teams that are in now, like Indiana, we thought was kind of a fluke last year.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
uh,
What a toe
gone
tap,
back to
man. What a
back
hell of a
and
game.
gotten
Just
better,
call
right?
that out. Yeah.
Like teams like Indy, I guess even teams like Vandy, just kind of what do you think about, I guess, who's a team that you
Yeah.
think will surprise some folks if they get into the playoffs?
Um, is it bad to say Indiana? I think people still
I
don't
don't think
believe in
it's bad to say
Indiana.
Indiana, even though they're number 2.
Yeah, I think people still don't believe in Indiana.
Some
Especially,
people.
yeah, especially still scraping by against. But I think they're a good football team. Their defense is really good.
Yep.
You have a potential first round pick at quarterback who had an up and down game last week, but he showed up when it mattered, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be exciting to watch. Vandy's always fun, right? Just any type of school that like you know they shouldn't be there, but they're figuring
Yeah.
it out, which I also think is a part of like, just new modern day college football, right? Like now with
Mhm.
NIL and, Vandy's got money behind them. They've always had money behind them, but they weren't a blue blood football school. But
Right.
now they can try and be that.
Hmm.
So, man, it's exciting. No one else really jumps out. Like I thought Ole Miss was going to be like one to really watch with
Hmm.
Trinidad, and I still do. I think Trinidad's a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, he put the world on notice against Tulane, and I was in shock. I was like, damn, like I thought we were at least gonna hang with these dudes. Um, yeah, I mean that's probably the few. But I think something more interesting that's not being talked about, and you kind of alluded to, is like, yeah, this has become a game where like, yeah, you got these two power conferences that are basically just battling out to get in, and then you got your other power conferences like your ACC, or your Big Ten, Big 12. Shit,
Big 12. Yeah.
Big 12. Yeah, that like kind of falling off. And like last year, you almost had it. Does it happen this year? Probably not. Is there ever a reality or an opportunity where you get two group of five schools in? That's what I want. I want
I
chaos.
would love that.
I need something like that. I feel like that's the more fun conversation to have. I don't know what
Hmm.
that looks like right now. I know that the ACC is horrible right now. There ain't no way they leave the ACC champ out. But essentially, the way it's set up right now, and a lot of people don't realize this, they think power schools versus group of five schools. They think one group of five schools guaranteed. It's the
Right.
five conference champions, the five highest ranked conference champions. If in some weird world there's a Sun Belt champion who's 12 and a Tulane champion or
Madison.
an AAC, yeah, and an AAC champion who's 15, not that that's going to happen this year, and then you got your ACC at 20, they're out, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I want something like that. I think that would be a hell of a lot more fun.
I think that will be fun. I hope that we get to a point where we have multiple G5 schools in. I think it's the best chance to have these Cinderellas. I think that's the thing that makes March Madness what it is. It's not just this one school that we're just casting all of our hopes and dreams on. There's about three or four in there, and they kind of make their run. And it's like, okay, we have more we can kind of get behind as opposed to, yeah, you probably won your group a 64, maybe even group of 32, but now it's over. And now we don't
Yeah.
we don't have that Cinderella anymore.
Nobody wants
Kind of
that.
how it feels with football.
Yeah. I feel that.
But yeah, man.
Who,
Go ahead.
who do you, I mean, I know this was something we had chatted about before. Who do you
Mhm.
think is going to be the front runner for the group of five to get in? Let's be honest, there's only be one that gets in. So,
For me, I think when you just talk about resumes, probably USF. They control their own destiny. Have an opportunity to make it to the conference championship. I think if they win, of course, they're in. And I know James Madison has been doing some great things in the Sun Belt. So if they ended up with the same record or close to, and you're trying to figure out, okay, who do I choose? USF has a road win against a Florida team, and yeah, they haven't had the season that they wanted as a program, obviously moving on from their coach, but that's a big win, especially early
oh, yeah.
in the year. And just the way they've been able to play in some of these big time matchups. I think you think of a team, if we're going to have to pick one, right, who's a team that year in and year out tries to put these big time matchups on their schedule, that has been USF. And I think that they would not only get in, but I think that's a team I would bet on upsetting
Or an
us.
upset.
Like if they got the 12th seed and they
They've
have to
done
go
it.
play
I
a
mean,
Georgia or they have to go play an A&M, their brand of football,
mhm.
I think they could shock some folks and actually win in a road contest. So
Yeah. No, and it's funny. Obviously, I'm the Tulane guy, but I agree. I think at this moment, USF has the best case. I know some people will argue about different things. Tulane has a good argument, but you have to.
mhm.
People can play with numbers all they want, right?
Yeah.
I know the committee typically values strength of schedule, which if you look at it through that, if you squint hard enough, Tulane's got the best strength of schedule.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think USF has looked the best. They passed the eye test, and I think that is what normally kind of factors in a
Yeah.
little more. In my opinion, it's going to be whoever wins the American Conference. I think the American
I
Conference
agree.
is kind of proven to be the upper echelon this year, at least,
Hmm.
of the group of five. James Madison has a shot, but they haven't played anybody. Like it's hard to make that argument for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I
for
agree.
sure, man. But yeah, man, let's pivot a little bit to the NFL. Our Tyler Shough, QB1 for New Orleans Saints, as I call them,
Goodness.
God's chosen franchise, blessed by His Holiness the Pope 3 times, and then
Yes,
our new
sir.
Pope blessed us as well. So also got some New Orleans in his DNA. So we gotta make sure we acknowledge that. But man, Tyler Shough coming off his second career start had a really good showing against a Panthers team and a Panthers defense that had really come on in the past few
Mhm.
weeks, and everybody kind of has their reservations. I still have a few reservations about him, but that's life with a young quarterback in itself. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on what was your mindset draft night when with the 40th overall pick we draft Tyler Shough out of
Yeah.
Louisville till now, and then kind of what do you think he needs to do to kind of keep the momentum going?
Oh man. Well, full disclosure,
Mhm.
I had a lot of I had a long time to prepare. Like
Okay.
I have a couple buddies that were banging the table telling me, and maybe they're not always right, but
Mhm.
banging the table telling me Tyler Shough was the pick. And
Okay.
at first they were telling me he was in the first round. They're like, "Oh, we're probably gonna trade back in." They want Tyler Shough, and I'm like, "There ain't no way." So I was a little shocked when I first heard it, and I heard it well before the draft. And as we got closer, I'm like, okay, like we're definitely taking Shough. I'm telling everybody I know. I'm not putting it on Twitter because I can't do
Yeah.
that. But I'm like, yeah, we're taking Shough. Just get your mind right. It's happening. And they're like, well, what about Shador? What about this? I'm like, I don't care what you think. It don't matter. That's
Yeah.
who they want. Which kind of it, it it surprised me a little bit because I wasn't even looking at Shough originally. Like when I first started looking at the draft process, I was not even looking at him. I was looking at other guys. I was looking at Shador. I was looking at Jackson Dart, and I wasn't really high on anyone. I was just like, I really like Cam Ward, but we're never going to get Cam Ward. So, in my opinion, maybe take Shador in the second is where my mind was.
Yeah.
Which obviously that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I mean, I started looking into Shough a little more. He had everything you would want. If you just
Mhm.
watch film, he had everything you want. Now they tried to drag him down when they started talking about him. They're like, oh, look at these two highlights where he's throwing like a dummy. Okay, I get it. But he's physical, he's tall, he's got a strong arm, he can move, he throw off platform. Like he checks all the boxes that you want in a prototypical quarterback. He's older. That's a negative. I get it. I think it surprised me in camp when he didn't separate himself. I started to
Mhm.
get concerned. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I, I kind of had lumped them together, Shough
Yeah.
and Rattler, as far as like what they were bringing from college. Some of the
Mhm.
negatives were similar, right? Both of them weren't really great under pressure. Both of them were a little inconsistent. Shough
Yeah.
was a better runner. A lot of people don't know that. Um, but yeah, when he didn't separate in camp, I don't know, like this ain't a good sign. And then Spencer's named the starter, and Rattler didn't really look bad the first couple
Right.
games. He was kind of up and down, and then he had a couple stinkers, and then the team looked like they just quit on him, to be honest. And at that point, you know, when they moved to Shough, I was like, okay, like unfortunately, like Rattler ain't coming back in. I know everybody wants him back. He's not coming back in. That's never gonna happen. And if he
Yeah.
does next year, neither one of them are gonna be here.
Right.
Um, so, and then after game one, you know, after his end of the first game and then, you know, one full start, it's like, man, like, I know he's a rookie. He don't look good. Is this why he couldn't win? Yeah. It's like, are we just waiting for next year? Who's the guy we're looking at next year? And then he plays the Panthers and he puts on a hell of a show. So it's like,
Mhm.
at this point, I don't really know what to expect, I guess is what I'm getting at. I know X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, we like to swing. We like
Yeah.
to be real high and we like to be real low, and there's never any in between. And I think the reality of Tyler Shough right now is it's probably somewhere in between, and you're going to need
Mhm.
to see some more games. Listen, he showed everything against the Panthers that you would want him to show, especially as a rookie quarterback. I know he's older or whatever. Throwing off platform, moving the pocket, performing under pressure. I mean, he only put up 17 points, but he looked every bit the part of a starting
Yeah.
quarterback for the future. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's still going to be some things that you're going to want to watch for moving
Mhm.
forward. He makes some questionable decisions when he's under pressure, and he's still a little inconsistent. But man, when it works,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. But Spencer, you can say the same about Spencer. When it
Yeah.
worked for him, it was nice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you
For me,
think?
man,
What do you? Yeah.
you've seen me on Twitter, man. Uh my feelings about what I call super senior quarterbacks that have been in
Mm-hmm.
college a long time, and obviously Tyler Shough almost exceeds that because I typically stop at 5 year, but in this new
Right.
landscape of college football, 7 years
Joke.
is what he
It's a
had.
joke.
Obviously, some
I
some
hate it.
season-ending injuries. I mean, and think about it. I think if his career had reached the trajectory he wanted to, where whether it was at Oregon or even Texas Tech before some of the injuries, I mean, this is a guy that's probably already in the league, probably year two, year three. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Um, I was not, I guess, excited. I think by the time we picked him, um, I kind of said, okay, like Tyler Shuck's a second round pick. When you look at the numbers, it's almost like a throwaway at the quarterback position when you draft a quarterback outside of the first round. And I think for me, I kind of started to be okay with it once it, in my opinion, gave an idea of where we were as a team and what we were trying to do. And it was clear that you wanted it to be a young quarterback's direction, and you wanted Spencer Rattler and insert this draft pick to be the ones to go at it, at least for the immediate future, to figure out what you have in either one. When I thought about Shador Sanders, I think he's a good quarterback, but can he have the off-platform type play, the ability to get rid of the ball quickly, as Kellen Moore likes to see in his quarterbacks? Probably
Right.
not. Um, Jackson Dart obviously didn't last to our pick. He ended up getting Giants traded back and got him. A guy like Jalen Milroe, that's a guy you draft if you have a Derek Carr on your roster
Yeah.
and you just need somebody to sit. Not I want to throw him straight into the dog fight for starting quarterback position in the NFL. And so when you think of Tyler Shuck's experience in college football, kind of the tools that he was coming in, having a guy that for the most part, he is who he is, but maybe you can make a few tweaks to have him ready for the NFL. It made sense, especially when you think about Kellen Moore's profile in the quarterbacks that he worked with. But also the things we had to learn is he was in college for 7 years, but when you think about the amount of games he played, he didn't always finish those games either
Right.
and dealing with the injuries. So there's still a little bit of growth that we had to that we still have to wait to see. And so I don't know. I'm still not the biggest fan of the pick, but my mindset has always been, could he and Rattler do enough for the organization to say, okay, this is our guy at least for 2026, and we could fix this team in other areas because we are
Yeah.
more than a quarterback away. I'm pretty sure you'd agree with that. And so, in that vein, kind of what would you see if we, Auntie Gail told Mickey, give him his walking papers and say, "Hey, Patty, we're giving you the chair and the position. What are things that you have to see? One that says, "Hey, I'm not going to go get a quarterback in 2026," but also how would you personally handle, I guess, our rebuild between now and I'd say
Yeah.
2027?
That's a great question. So I'll give some insight into my draft strategy in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But first I'll start with Tyler Shuck and what we need to see. I mean, if he keeps playing like he played against the Panthers, like that's all you need to see, right? If he can have let's make it more simpler, actually. If he can have 2-to-1 turnover ratio, like let's start with that, right?
Okay.
I don't want to see multiple turnover games with no touchdowns. Like and I know that's pretty basic,
Yeah.
but guys can't even seem to grasp that sometimes. So let's protect the football. But I also want to see him read the defense continuously. I want to be able to see him check at the line. I want to be able to see him grow in those areas as a professional quarterback. Yeah, he could probably do it at the college level. I want to continue to see that at the NFL level. I want to see him continue to, adjust, blitz pickup, things like that. Like I want to see him get to the next level of the game. And if you can continue to see him throw off platform, make accurate throws, protect the football, and score points, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Like I know that's checking every box for a quarterback, but that's what you need to see. Um, and aside from that, like how does the team rally around him? I think is another
Mm-hmm.
big thing. Um, I don't know how close he is with his players, but I really had a sense that the team just quit when the last game Spencer Rattler was playing. Like I don't know what was going on, but
Yeah.
when you're fumbling the ball 2-3 times a game, you can't catch a pass. I don't know what the hell was going on. That team looked like they just quit. They looked like they didn't need to be on the field. So,
Mm-hmm.
how does he interact with his players and how do they rally around him moving forward is something I'm really looking forward to as well. And
Okay.
then talking about draft strategy, I don't ever believe in not picking this guy or not picking that guy because I want to do this instead. And I know that sounds kind of weird. I think if there's a quarterback you like, you pick the damn quarterback. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I've always felt like that. I was banging the table years ago when they were talking about trading for Deshaun Watson. And listen, I know how that turned out. But at the time, we're like, we don't have a franchise quarterback. Do we trade everything for this franchise quarterback? I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
I know what the man has supposedly done. I don't like it. I don't like anything about him. But if he is a franchise quarterback and you believe that, you go get him. You do whatever you can in your power to go get him. And that's how I think about every position in general, right? Like, yeah, ideally, is it better to go draft a bunch of guys that you think are going to be surefire hits on your offensive line, defensive line, wide receivers, all these positions of need? Sure. There's no guarantee with any of them, first of all. So let's just go get the best players available and just see what happens. Is kind of my strategy. So
Nice. I mean, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of talented players, I think, coming in both drafts, and I think some of them fit the quarterback position. Our idea of the 2026 class coming into this season is totally different now. I
yeah,
don't think a guy like Mendoza or even a Ty Simpson we're seeing as these top tier guys, right? You had Carson Beck coming back, you had Nussmeier, you had Klubnik, Drew Aller, and their seasons have taken a drastic turn, and that's always the kind of how you said, hey, if you really like a quarterback, you take that quarterback because his mindset of, oh, we can go get a quarterback next year. Well, the guys you have in your head may not live up to those expectations, and I think we've seen that.
yeah,
And so that's always the scary part. And right now, in my opinion, the top three guys being Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Dante Moore, I can't tell you that I would trust either one to start day one for me right now, which is an issue in itself because Mickey's ears are probably burning, saying, "Oh my God, I get to go get a vet quarterback again," and nobody really wants to go down that route. But I'm with you, man. At this point, we got to get talent, and if it's at the quarterback position, if it's elsewhere, and we need to figure it out, we got to go ahead and do that because I think we've kind of gotten too much into what we draft for need, and we haven't hit on, I guess, the
yeah.
talent profile as well as we would have liked. And I just hope that's kind of, I guess, the change in direction that we see from the Saints going forward. And I think 2025 is kind of looking like that. Like I think they're showing some things for their draft class. We have, I mean, what is it, 4 starters now? For sure.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah, this
Danny
last draft
Stutzman. Then you got a
so
Danny
far.
Stutzman that's kind of fighting. That probably should be starting right now, but is really starting to fight for some snaps. And we saw Vernon Broughton before he got injured really start to get more into the action. So you kind of see them going in a direction where you're not just getting players, but players that can, I guess, make a difference right away
Yeah.
for you. So I don't know, maybe we should get a little bit more
Yeah.
excited about the 2026 drafting cycle.
Listen, I also don't believe in rebuilds. Like I
Yeah,
understand the need for a rebuild when your cap is
yeah,
out of control and all these things, and like maybe you got to reset and you got to figure out how to manage that cap. I think if you're ever putting yourself in a position to say, "Oh, it's okay to lose for a year," you don't need to be there.
yeah.
Like genuinely, you don't need to be there. Like, yeah, you might have some things you got to overcome, but you got to figure it out. You got to put the best players on the field. You don't purposely suck ever. That doesn't
Right.
work in the NFL. And if you do, I'll show you a program like the Cleveland Browns that just will continuously suck. Like you're never going to be good. So you got to figure it out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it's funny you say that because I always tell people all the time because they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're rebuilding, so we're just going to lose." I'm like, "Well, one, rebuilding doesn't mean you lose." Like for me, I feel like the Washington Commanders are in a rebuild. They got
Yeah,
the quarterback, but they were able to have a really good season last year. But you saw that, hey, maybe we struck fire a little early, but there's still some things we got to fix on the team. So I think they're still trying to figure themselves out. I would say a Green Bay Packers team that loses a Aaron Rodgers, loses Devontae Adams,
yeah,
they're still trying to figure out who they are, but they still have some talent in place to where they can still compete. Even the Cleveland Browns, they just suck. I never go into a year thinking the Cleveland Browns just want to be bad on purpose. I just think they have people in positions that are bad at their jobs.
yeah. I know. I don't know. I just
So,
picked on them, but no, I agree. I mean, I think in that sense, like you're kind of rebuilding every year, right? Like
yeah,
even the freaking Kansas City Chiefs, who's a dynasty, they're rebuilding right now. Say what you want, like
yeah,
they are not the Kansas City Chiefs of 4 years ago.
I
But
agree.
at the end of the year, they're going to be in the playoffs, maybe. They're going to be they're going to be in a Super Bowl picture because they got Pat Mahomes, and that's just how it works. You
Yep.
know, you just got to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. It's the NBA has ruined us. That's what it is. We think
You can't
tanking.
draft one player and all of a sudden be a different team in the NFL. It doesn't work like that.
That's true. That is very much true. Just kind of want to pivot. I know we're coming towards an end, man.
Yeah.
I know on y'all show and even on the timeline, y'all talk a little bit about some WWE, man, and I just kind of want to get your thoughts. Everybody has their opinions on the booking on all
Yeah.
three shows, and just kind of want to get your idea of where do you think the booking is going? What are some things that you like to see more? Maybe a couple WWE superstars that you hope get pushed a little bit more in the next year or so.
Yeah. You know, I think that kind of goes hand in hand, both those questions, because my first answer was going to be they got to get younger.
Yeah.
And we're talking about sports, and now I'm talking about wrestling. They got to get younger. I think they hold back the young people. So, and I say young people, and these people aren't even young anymore in the terms
Yeah.
of like what it used to be. Like I was looking at a comparison the other day of the Attitude Era roster and
Hmm.
today's roster and the champions and like all the main players, right? And like in the
Hmm.
Attitude Era, you're looking at like The Rock and Stone Cold and all these guys that are like in their early 30s, maybe
Hmm.
late 20s. And right now, all your top guys are like mid 40s. You don't
Yeah.
have anybody. I mean, you have people in their late 20s and early 30s and stuff like that that are decent, but you're not pushing them. You're not doing anything with them. They're just kind of hovering around the card. Maybe they're a tag team. And I'm talking about one in particular that it looked like they were about to push through the moon and then they pulled them back. Um, um, shit, Steiner. I can't even think right now.
Oh,
Uh,
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, looked like they're about to push him to the moon. He attacks Seth Rollins. He holds up the belt. Then the man can't even get to the championship match. It's like, and now he's in a tag team. They're just like, nah, we'll figure it out later. I just don't understand what's happening there. I get that you have a CM Punk. I get that you have Jay Uso, who's massively over, and I know people are upset that he's in every main event picture because he can't wrestle. I don't care.
Yeah.
Look at the kids; like they love him, so it's
Yeah.
fine. I love him. It is what it is. Um,
Yeet.
yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? You give me yours. Maybe we go back and
You
forth.
know, I'd say I'm with you on getting younger for sure. Because I feel like, yeah, we got some of these older guys, especially kind of yes, they're OGs now, but they were some of the younger superstars when we were a little bit younger. But I always felt like they weren't opposed to putting the younger generation over because they know what they kind of went through and what they had to go through. But I just think the folks in charge, they're thinking more so, I guess, in a business mindset of
Yeah,
these names sell, so we have to keep them at the top, and forgetting that the business is about taking the next generation and making new stars. And I don't think the WWE has put themselves in a position to make new stars, even though I believe the fan base is clamoring for it. So like you mentioned a Braun Breaker where, like you said, he attacked Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth unfortunately gets injured, but you attack him, and it's all, well, we had it in our plans for next year for him to be the guy. Well, the plans change, okay?
right.
And as disgusting of a human being as he is, I think that was something that I think Vince McMahon understood of. Sometimes we got to just change the plan because the people have said we have to change the plan, and we can make it work. And so this kid has been a good worker on both, obviously your main roster, but also in NXT where he was getting developed. Why make him wait? Even if you're making him wait to hold the belt, why can he not be in that tournament, right?
Right.
Or Carmelo Hayes, a guy that pretty much wins all your titles on the NXT brand, a superstar in his own right? First draft pick in the draft, gets to battle champion Cody Rhodes, gets to battle the Randy Ortons of the world, and then it's all right. Like you can't even get in the mid card.
Yeah.
Javon Evans. Why are we waiting? The
Yeah.
kid's ready. Like let's put him in. Let's throw him in. I think they even try to hold back a Dom Mysterio to a degree. Yeah, he just had a belt. He kind of gets put in the right promotions, but shoot, like send this guy to the moon. Like we're
Yeah.
ready for these younger stars to really get going. And when I say younger, I mean we can even talk about the guys in their 30s, like a Montez Ford. What
Yeah.
is taking so long?
Yo, we used to talk
I
about
hand it over
Montez.
to him.
Dave and I used to talk about Montez Ford like 3 years ago. We're like, yeah, he's next. It was like 3 years ago. We're like,
Yeah,
yeah, eventually. It was like him and LA Knight at the time. We're like, yeah, it's got to be like these two guys are going to be the guys that are going to elevate moving forward because they seem like they were ready to explode. Montez, they just kind of pushed away.
yeah.
Um, LA Knight, I don't know, whatever. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. He's in his 40s now too, so it don't
He's in
matter.
a doghouse.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And then going into Carmelo, like I don't understand. It's weird. Like I don't understand why they clearly believed in him in a way,
Yeah,
right? First round
yeah.
draft pick, all these things you mentioned him, and then all of a sudden they're just like, you know what? Never mind. Like
Hmm.
we're just not going to push him. We're going to let him go do something with the Miz.
Right.
What a death sentence. Like
And this is after a 7-game classic with Andrade. Like
right.
they just put on a show that was becoming the match of SmackDown, where you're just trying to figure out, okay, who's going to win this series. We're treating it like the NBA Finals because they're going to 7 games. It plays into Melo's
Yeah.
character with the jerseys and everything, and neither of those guys come out on top with that.
Andrade
Um,
left.
yeah, and technically it's like he left, but he couldn't leave, so he might be coming back. It's weird,
Yeah.
legal stuff.
His non compete wasn't up or something like that, and he went and showed up the next night on another show.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, and it's all kinds of things though. Now you got me talking about it. I mean, I I feel like they just don't know how to book certain things. They know how
mhm.
to just go back to the well every time. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, we know CM Punk, we know Cody Rhodes, we know Roman Reigns, we know these guys are our top guys.
Mhm.
I mean, you have the Wyatt Six that have this amazing like story that they've told as they come in, and now they're never on TV. I know Bo
Yeah.
got hurt in the beginning. I know that kind of messed it up. Now they're
Yeah.
never on TV. They've kind of changed what their reasoning is for anything they do. I think that was the type of team and faction that all they had to do was have that same mindset from the very beginning of, hey, we're going to right wrongs and we're going
Yeah.
to do it in our way. And if they ended up with belts, fine. If they
Yeah.
didn't, no one cares. Just let them creepily show up on TV and be this random force and let them tell stories that way about people that have done things that they shouldn't have done and now they're getting retribution, so to speak. That's another whole thing. But,
Yeah.
you know,
And I'm glad you mentioned belts because I feel like outside of the women who are amazing, by the way, and should get more love and get more run, I don't think they know how to book non-title feuds, especially with the men. I mean, war games. Why are my two
oh
champions
my
in this?
goodness.
Why aren't we utilizing them to build up other stars defending their title? But now we have both of our champions in a match. And then
I
a
hate
grueling
war.
match. Like we
I
just
hate war
lost Seth
games.
Rollins. Like, can we
Yeah.
just get them away from this? And then you got what Jay Uso looks like he's about to turn heel, and now he's all buddy buddy with CM Punk. And where the hell is Roman Reigns?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they do that all the time where they hint at stuff and they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. It's like, we're just
Randy
going to
Orton.
see. Yeah.
He's still looking at the belt.
Yeah. I'm telling you, forever. The thing that never happened with and he's not even there anymore with my brain ain't working tonight, man. I'm telling you, it's been a long day. A Town Down and
Oh, Austin Theory
Austin Theory.
and
Yeah.
Waller,
Yo,
Grayson Waller. When it was like, okay, is Austin about to turn face or
yeah.
they're
And
about to
Austin
break
was getting
up?
over for the first time in his life. And all of a sudden they're
Yep.
like, you know what? We're just gonna not pay him anymore and we're gonna put him off TV and then he's no longer gonna work for us. And it's like, what are we doing? There's just so many stories like that, so many cases like that.
Yeah.
Carrying Cross. Carrying Cross. Like they want people to get over on their own
Yeah.
and they get these followings and then they're just like, nah, we don't want to do it that way. We don't want to do this random other match that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then everybody keeps saying, oh, he can't wrestle. Like, honestly, I love the
Neither can Jey
storyline.
Uso.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying him being in some of these matchups, like him and AJ Styles. I totally enjoyed just that little rivalry they had. It's just kind of his thing of being, I guess, the devil on people's shoulders. Like I kind
Right.
of liked where that was going. But like you said, you have people that get themselves over organically, not by the machine, and you're just like, forget about it.
Yeah.
And then I think we get too. I don't know what Hunter and his group's infatuation with long storylines. Like I remember growing up in the Attitude Era where it felt like the World Heavyweight Championship switched every couple weeks, just because it was about how do we keep making people better. And then
Yeah.
how can I make you over without a championship, which only adds to your stardom. And then when we finally want you to go back and chase what you've lost, it grows you even more. Like somehow, some way, we've lost that plot
Yeah.
a little bit.
It's tough because say you were talking about it earlier with Vince McMahon, and obviously terrible human being.
Yeah.
He understood all that for a long time. I think at the end of his run, probably I think the PG era started and Vince McMahon just lost his mind. I don't think he knew what to do anymore. But um, I think that it's just gone. I think that nobody really knows how to really book wrestling in general because you see the same problems in every organization. AEW can't tell a story to save their life. It ends after a week, or they scrap plans here and there, and I can't even follow that anymore because it got to a point where there was like 30 people in the ring at all times, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
And it feels like WWE does the same thing a lot, and it's just like it can be difficult. When you said you wanted to talk about it, I was like, man, I don't. I've been watching, but I have not been watching. Like
Yeah.
I watched Monday, but I did not watch Friday. I did not watch last Monday. I keep up with it, but
Yeah.
it's just gotten so difficult.
Yeah. And I think that's a credit or a critique on the writing. Like, I mean, me watching this past, I watched past this past Monday. So I was like, oh, okay, like I haven't watched in a while. Let me look into it, see what's going on because I know PLE pay per view. I hate
Right.
saying
Yeah.
paid live
Still.
event, but
Yeah.
I'm like let me at least see what's going on so I can be in the know of what's kind of happening. But there isn't a storyline right now that's driving me, and like I want guys to get over. Like I love Cody, but I would have loved to see a Drew McIntyre be the champion. Like why can't we make that switch? Why does everything have to be on the big shows? Um, unless it's a guy that you like, and you can have a John Cena win the Intercontinental Championship on
Right.
Raw, or have the Kabuki Warriors win the women's tag team championships, but only to set up war games.
Yeah.
So I,
I
I
hate war
just
games. I said it earlier. I need to get it out. I don't understand. We did this last year. We did it the year before. It's like
yeah.
when this Survivor Series pay per view comes up or PLE comes up. I say pay per view too. It's because I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when this comes up, it's like 3 weeks beforehand. All of a sudden, you start to see, oh, these 3 people or 4 people are randomly together. Oh,
Yeah.
it's because they're going to fight these 4 people, and it makes no sense. There's no
Right.
reason for it. It's just out of the blue. Like Logan Paul. Like, why did Logan Paul randomly need to be involved with CM Punk and this whole storyline to set up war games?
Right.
It makes no
And then,
sense.
and then for his opening line to be, if there's anyone that deserves a title shot, it's me. How? We haven't even seen you.
You
You
haven't
haven't
even,
even been in
yeah,
any matches to
ain't seen you in months.
right to put yourself in position. I'm with you on war games. It kind of like Hell in a Cell. Remember when they just started to keep having that every time, and it took away the nostalgia and just the meaning, like the meaning
Yeah,
out of that match. I think the same thing has happened with war games. I feel like it should be something that builds up superstars, not again having your two champions in it on the same team. Or how about we just bring back classic Survivor Series where the champions, both brands are fighting against each other. Hell, you
hmm
can even bring NXT in the mix now because they're more, in my opinion, than a development brand. I think they are a main roster in their own right with what they're able to put on.
right.
And we let y'all go to work. And when you think of like a Cody story of this betrayal and everybody wants his title, and obviously CM Punk where he's the guy that left and abandoned the business and then came back. Um, there's a story in itself of them trying to recruit people. They're the champions, but nobody is really trying to like rock
Yeah,
with them.
that's a good
And
point.
so like we could build that up. Like I used to look forward to it. Like we even had a game around it, right? SmackDown versus Raw. Can we
Yeah,
get that back? Like there's no even brand loyalty anymore because you can be on this show, you
because
can be on
yeah,
that
everybody's on
show.
each
Cody
show
was just on Raw for what reason? I don't know.
to set up war games. That's why.
It's horrible.
Just randomly.
Horrible.
Um, it's interesting because you just said something that reminded me. I remember when it was recently, Triple H had introduced NXT for something. It was like a special event or something like
Mhm.
that. And it seemed like the promo they had cut, it was like Shawn and Triple H going back and forth. It seemed like they were setting up something for
Yeah,
potentially war games because I think Regal even came out and they
he
like
did.
hinted at it, but then it
And
just
then
it just never happened. I don't know. I don't know what the
yeah,
hell they're doing.
yeah. The thing is, I don't think they know what the hell
I
they're
don't
doing.
think they either. I
Um,
think that Triple H realized, or maybe the company realized these little Easter egg things, people love them and they dig into them. And now they're like now they're almost like trying to do stuff like that. But then they're like, oh, wait, I can't actually do this. And now they don't even know what the hell they're doing anymore. It's like they're just putting all kinds of stuff out and then nothing actually comes through and people are getting tired of it.
Yeah, and not to mention Dwayne is somewhere after he gets off his set, sipping his lemonade, looking at the email thread about what they're gonna do and say, I want that change. I haven't even watched the past 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
can we change that? Can we
Yeah.
set up the final boss when he comes? Which
Yeah.
you know,
You think
that's
he's coming
that's a,
back at the end of the John Cena run?
I
You think he
think
shows
so.
up?
I think so. I think everybody's pretty much alluded to it. Even Cody Rhodes himself says it's not done. Which can he turn heel? Because he's kind of, you know, tampered with the dark side a little bit and how he's winning matches. Like what are we doing with this?
I feel
But
like he needs to. I feel like he's getting stale. He's getting to the
yeah,
point where he did in AEW, where the fans even turned on him in AEW, and they were just like, "We just don't want to see you anymore. Like, can you do
yeah,
something different?" I think he
because
needs to.
we want to see character development. Like you can always be face and then heel and then kind of anti-hero and then face again.
Right.
That's how
And
it works.
I think that's something else that maybe Vince got, that us as humans, like, we want to see reflections of ourselves in a sense. And
Right.
all of us, like, nobody's 100% good all the time. Nobody,
Mhm.
well, some people might be 100% bad all the time. I don't know. But nobody's 100% good all the time. Everybody's got those days where they're like, oh man, this person talks to me the wrong way one more time. And it's just like, you want to
Mhm.
see that in other people. And I think that, like, when you see somebody like Cody Rhodes, you can connect with him a little bit, but
Mhm.
he's just always the good guy, Mr. Captain America.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, dude, like,
Yeah.
nobody's that perfect.
Yeah.
Same reason people
Yeah.
got mad at John Cena after a while. They're like, come on, dude, change it up.
Exactly. Because I started watching with the Super Cena like role because it just knew it was going to happen every single time. Like, he's going to win. You can't beat him. Like he has to be the guy. He has to be the saint, which is why the heel turn, even though it was kind of executed poorly, was still refreshing
It
because
was
he got
cool.
the. I liked it, like especially
Yeah.
his promos, like the one he did on CM Punk. Like I love that one. It
Yeah.
was just it's kind of authentic. So
I wish they would have done that differently. Like, I love that they did it, but that the fact that they did it without a plan, or the plan fell apart because people didn't show up anymore,
yeah,
like The
yeah,
Rock and
yeah.
the rapper that bloodied up Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. The Rock shows up. Dwayne Johnson picks and chooses when he's going to show up. You
Yeah,
know, you know,
that's
how I see it.
terrible.
But all right, man. I'm gonna let us out of here, man. Look, appreciate you stopping by, chatting it up, some college football, some NFL, and of course, it seems like we can do a whole hour on the WWE. Even though I can tell you, I had one bullet point on the WWE, and we had a really thorough conversation, man. But any final thoughts you want to say?
Nah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. As you can tell, I'll just talk. So I think even if we ever do this again, like even some of this college football stuff, as we get to jarring back and forth, like it'll just flow. So yeah, but I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Always willing to come back if you want me.
yeah, for sure, man. We'd be happy to have you. And guys, you know how we end this thing. If there's anything we said that offended you, that's a good thing. It's an opportunity for us to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach us. All we ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.